and welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is a dive into the obscure um, in Super Hunchback. So let's see where to start here. So, okay, first of all, this is actually a sequel um, to a game called Hunchback.
As the super in the name might have indicated.
Right. And also, this is you can see a Game Boy game and not a Super NES game, so they're not following system conventions here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but apparently the original Hunchback game is a 1983 release from Century Electronics, which was converted to various platforms by Ocean Games. Like you may have seen the Pico Interactive copyright there, but no, this was an actual Game Boy game released back in 1991 or 1992, depending on the region. And yeah, you don't get a lot of Game Boy games in our coverage of classic games. Like, there are various reasons for that, because a lot of it has to do with how disposable the Game Boy was, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so the Galax was given this for review, and over to him to see how it turned out.
So this game seems extremely straightforward and limited right away when you assume it has more of the conventions of most platformers. And also, I didn't realize at first it was literally a Game Boy game. I thought it was a retro thing because I didn't do research first. I did research after.
Fair enough.
Like a lot of things, like the obstacles that are bouncing around, you can generally jump on you. They're not contact kills. Actually, a lot of other things are also not contact kills. They just do like a heart of damage or stun you for a bit.
Yeah, this game seems to occupy a weird place in between, the arcade game, the arcade games of the early '80s and more modern fare. Like, in fact, this is kind of a whole. I don't want to say genre, but it was a whole thing on the Game Boy. We got secret remakes or sequels to classic arcade games.
Mm-hmm.
Donkey Kong's probably the most famous of that set, but hardly the only one I could name. Lock and Chase, Cubert 3, hell, Heiankyo Alien got one of these. Like,
So the goal of the game, it's a high score game because that's the era it's from. You have to get to the end of the quote unquote stage, which is basically to the next checkpoint. Also, there are not really many bottomless pits. There are plenty of pits with spikes in the bottom, but they're not literally bottomless, which gets to the point I'm going to make after I go this. Okay. So it initially seems like an Adventure Island style game where you just are collecting fruit. The fruit does not actually extend your time. Hourglasses extend your time. But you just have to get to the end of the relatively short linear stages while collecting fruit, getting hourglasses to increase your time, and yeah, that's the main deal of it. But there's actually a lot of exploration you can, like, in the second screen of the game, so it's not fast, so it's not like a slow thing. There's a lot of vertical exploration, and then later on, there's an area with a pit that you can literally drop down. I did not get super far in this because it's a hard game, and I did not know the infinite lives code, which is like the Konami code if you put it in the mirror, apparently. You only start with like 3 lives.
So down, up, down, up?
It's not literally upside down. It's like it's left, right, up, down, or something like that.
Ah.
I don't have it. Okay, where is it? I had it on. Yeah, on the title screen, hold down, select, then press right, left, A, B, up, down.
That's kind of more of an anagram of the Konami code.
It is a similar style of code. So yeah, and since the game grades you at the end of the stage on the percentage of fruit you've gathered, there's actually quite a lot of, if you want to get a good score, especially, there's a lot of incentive to explore. But yeah, things like these acorns don't actually hurt you. You can jump off them and they can knock you around a little. They don't even hurt. About every 5 stages or so, or 5 checkpoints or so, there's an actual end of stage, which changes the scenario. You are literally Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame trying to save Esmeralda from not Judge Frollo, some new original guy.
The half pounder, apparently.
Yeah. The black hole looking things also not dangerous. Those are entrances to bonus levels where you have to collect all of the fruit in the bonus level and get to the end in very little time. Apparently there's more than one of those, but I never perfected it, so I never saw any further ones. There are also the extra bombs, which are hanging bomb dealies that cycle the letters extra through them, and you grab them. If you grab them before they explode, you get one of the letters, which goes down into your lower right part of your screen thing. If you get all of them, you get another heart. But if you get the same letter twice, I believe it undoes it, so you have to get that letter a third time. We were talking about this before the thing starts, but the music is certainly something. The title screen is a pretty decent 8-bit fucking rendition of Putting on the Ritz.
Yes. And that is so not
which is not what I expected from the Hunchback.
No, but I guess you should have expected it for the Super Hunchback.
Yeah.
We don't exactly know what makes him super.
Well, he already did one thing, so he's super now.
Mm.
And yeah, and like that pit, if you either time your jump just right or fall down, there's an entire underground cave system you can explore. And when there's like, the time limits are usually very short, but when it gives you an area to explore, there's usually one or more hourglasses around, which if you grab the hourglasses, it gives you more time. So that keeps the time as a noticeable pressure, but also not an unreasonable one.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the later stages, there are literally cannonballs shooting at you that also just stun you. Only the cannonballs that are on fire actually hurt, I think.
Yeah, but there's a reason for this, and that is because this is a time game.
Right, yeah, the being stunned for a little while can actually knock you out of contention for being able to get to the end of the level first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, honestly, for a Game Boy, the controls are a little bit stiff.
Stiff?
I would say.
Right.
But again, as an actual Game Boy game, this actually does some pretty inventive things, considering, like, at first, when I thought this was just a retro style thing, I was kind of disappointed in it in some ways. But
Mm-hmm.
as an actual old game, it has some kind of ahead of its time design things, and I actually kind of appreciate some of the things it's doing. It's still hard.
Right.
Unless you infinite life it, probably. And there's not really a ton to it. It's a score attack game.
Yeah.
But overall, I actually, knowing that it's an actual Game Boy game, I actually have to rate this higher than I would have if it was a new thing.
That's fair. Because, yeah, you're looking at a thing that was created for the Game Boy.
Right. And yeah, it really only has move with the arrows and jump and pause.
Does B even do anything?
It did not seem to do anything. Yes, B does nothing. Select also does nothing. Nor do up and down on the control pad, for that matter.
Fun. I'm guessing water is death?
Nope. Although you have to tap A very quickly, as the game is kind enough to respond to tell you, tap A really quickly to swim upward. Like, get your fucking Mario Party reflexes on. But the bottom of the water has stuff to get down there. So if you want to, you can do that. So yeah, that's one of those things. And like the fact that it tells you to tap A the first time you fall in, but not every time you fall in the water, is kind of neat, considering, you know? It's stuff like that I kind of appreciate, even though it's still a clunky game.
Honestly, like, if they remade this in, like, with, like, more modern fluid movement tech, this could at least be a pretty decent game.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm feeling. And I don't begrudge them the lack of the movement tech as much, knowing that this isn't actually an actual game from friggin' 92.
It's literally as old as I am.
Yeah, this is a game that's like 1 year older than Super Mario World. So.
No.
Points for letting me just casually ride on a cannonball.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and your idle animation doing a yo-yo thing like they definitely had in France during the during the Victor Hugo times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is a cute game. It is kind of interesting as a historical thing. And has some interesting features that make it more appealing than it would have been otherwise.
All right.
That said, it's still hard. And I believe I looked up at the price of this, and even at full price, it's less than $10.
Yep. It's $7.99, currently on sale for $2.79. Probably your cheapest option, since like a bit of poking around, it looks like loose carts of this go for like $20.
Yeah. For $3, this is a good purchase, I think. For $8, maybe. But still cheaper than getting the actual Game Boy version. Plus, you get it without pea soup vision.
Yeah. And, like, this version of whatever emulator they're using is actually decent. It doesn't make me want to vomit, so that's...
Do note that this emulator requires you to press escape to access any settings.
I mean, keep in mind that this is emulating a much simpler game than Street Racer.
Yeah. But yeah, the game loads in full screen with actually a pretty decent art border.
I imagine they probably just use the box art.
Something like that, yeah. But you can just put it in a smaller window that's like pixels times 2, pixels times 4.
Yeah, I will say like pixels times 4 actually looks pretty good.
Probably don't stretch it to widescreen, because just don't. Game Boy games are actually slightly narrower than they are tall, so putting in a widescreen will just don't do that.
Good advice.
And I think that's all I have to say. It's a fairly simple game, even though for a Game Boy game there are definitely much simpler games.
And on that note, I think that'll conclude this review. Be sure to tune in after the break, as we will be reviewing Dymo XL.